Our sponsor for today's video, Amber, offers a modern extended warranty for your Tesla's battery and more without the burden of long-term contracts or upfront payments. Check out the link in the description below to browse their plan options and get started with a free over-the-air diagnostic check of your electric car. And this video is also brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world. They are also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage with microgrid solutions. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome to somewhere in Los Angeles and welcome to the new Cadillac Optiq. Well, this is a car that actually I'm learning about really along with you guys for the first time. And of course, I'm going to take you on a full tour of this car. We're going to run through all the specifications, the features, the space inside and outside. We're going to nerd out on some really cool technical details as well. We'll compare it to other vehicles that this is of course going to compete with in the overall market, such as Model Y, Q4 e-tron, etc. And so yeah, this is your immersion into the Cadillac Optiq. Now I only have 20 minutes with the car in the studio right now, so you'll actually have to join me probably back at the office with some extra details. Not typical, but we'll make it work. We'll make sure you understand everything about the Optiq from the front all the way to the back and everything that bolts this thing together. So join me on a full tour of the Cadillac Optiq. Jordan is behind the camera with me today. Hey Jordan.
Howdy.
What do you think about this thing? Right off the bat, before we tell anyone about it, what's your first impression of the Optiq?
This crazy monarch orange color really captures me. And
okay, you're into the color then.
Yeah, the color is kind of cool. I'll take it over just plain black and white car, but hey, really interesting two-tone mirrors. We don't see that hardly ever.
Okay.
But otherwise, feels Cadillac, which I do like. The Lyriq, you know, grabs my attention every time. I always double take, triple take on it.
Yeah, Lyriqs on the big wheels look pretty hot.
Yeah.
They're cool to see.
And so this is on the optional 21-inch wheels. There'll also be 20-inch wheels. And other than that, there's not a lot of options.
Right, so I guess let's run through the very high level specifications of this car and then we'll take a look at the space. We'll get into all the nerd stuff later on. But I guess the sister car to this one, or the donor car, I guess you could say, would be the Equinox EV. But to me, in my head, I always thought Equinox would be pretty small, but this is actually technically larger than a Model Y, Jordan, by like 2 inches, right?
Barely,
in length?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The price, though, is more expensive than a Model Y.
Yep.
It's $1,000 more roughly after destination and everything than a Model Y Performance. So it's got to be a really cool car and have some cool features. And it actually does have some really cool stuff inside that we're going to be taking a look at. So you guys got to let us know in the comments, does the feature content justify the price, or do you like the performance of the Tesla or other things? Of course, I know a lot of you guys drive Teslas who watch this channel, so really interesting to see what's going on here. Battery pack capacity though, 89 kilowatt hours. That seems pretty juicy, Jordan.
Yeah, pretty good size.
Yeah, it should be about 3.3, 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour in the 5-cycle test that they're doing. So just about 300 miles of range on either the 20 or 21-inch wheel and tire package, which is pretty cool.
1 mile difference. That's crazy.
Yeah, the engineers were saying 1 mile difference between both of them. Let's make our way around to the back. Onto the back, actually powered charge port. 11 kilowatt onboard charger standard. You actually can get a 19.2 kilowatt 80 amp onboard charger as an option, which is pretty juicy for only an 89 kilowatt hour battery pack.
Yeah, great home charging, even for like quick home charging.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to charge all night to get your whole battery.
No one's going to need the 19.2 kilowatt onboard.
We kind of want it.
Yeah, might as well. If you can get it, you know, sure, go for it. We should mention DC charging, 150 kilowatts, they say. This is 2024. That's way too slow.
Yep.
And keep in mind the curve as well. We have not charged this battery pack before, but it doesn't sound good right off the bat because they're saying 70-ish miles of range in 10 minutes, which is like 24% in 10 minutes, when we're looking at 10 to 80 in 18 minutes and some other, you know, cars that compete in the price range of this one.
Yeah, if they quote 20 to 80, you know it's not quite the best.
20 to 80 is over 40 minutes.
Yep.
So if there's anything GM can get from watching this video, it's charging performance matters. We really want it. But it's got good route planning, on-route battery preconditioning, and some other stuff as well. Hit the Cadillac badge, trunk opens up. This is badged as the 450E4. I'll walk you through the drivetrain options in a second. Juicy sized trunk.
Yeah, the class leading apparently. I mean, it's probably pretty close to on par with the other stuff. A little bit of sub-trunk storage, but not really much.
Yeah, but at least you can keep your EVSE back here. So let's show everyone this really quick. So we were talking about onboard charging. As standard equipment, every Optiq will come with this included portable EVSE, NEMA 1450 or NEMA 515, both as options, J1772. When's NACS coming? Question mark.
Question mark. But yeah,
we don't have an exact date.
At least you get a 32 amp EVSE.
That's right. We get and of course, this vehicle will have access to the Tesla Supercharger network through an adapter. I'm not sure if that adapter will come free of charge. Perhaps by the time this video comes out, we'll know more. We're filming this like way ahead of when we're talking. We'll know more about that Tesla GM partnership for superchargers, but I know it does work because I saw Bolt's charging there the other day.
So we see a 450 E4 badge, and unfortunately not 526 brake horsepower. It's definitely a bit less.
Okay, it's 200 and what is the horsepower? 280 something?
Yeah.
And then 333 pound-feet of torque.
Yep.
But we talk kilowatts, not horsepower on this channel. So you have, GM basically has 3 motors for their small-ish cars. So your front is your primary axle, permanent magnet, silicon carbide, they say, which is pretty cool. Electric machine up here. And so it's going to primarily be front driven. However, as standard is all-wheel drive, and it's sort of an E-assist axle is what they say. It's pretty interesting what they're doing on the rear, actually similar to Equinox and Blazer EV. This has the just over 60 kilowatt induction motor, air-cooled. No cooling lines need to be run to the back or anything like that. So it essentially will, at launch, use both motors to get you going in any drive mode, and then they'll just idle the rear motor and pull you along with the front. Some of you might be thinking, well, don't you need a clutch disconnect? Well, not if you use an induction motor. They have almost no flux-related losses or passive losses because the rotor is not magnetized. So you can just keep this, basically spinning. You'll have some bearing loss, but really nothing major. And then you'll be running front drive as your primary motive force. That makes a lot of sense to me. What is a bit frustrating, though, is, of course, we have to talk suspension, and basically we don't have much time, but through this video I'll walk you through the suspension characteristics and what they were trying to get out of this car. Being a front primary axle doesn't really leave performance in my mind. Jordan, we like rear drive cars.
Yeah, that's usually the dynamics people associate with performance, but I guess if it drives fine, it drives fine. I wonder, they said they catered this towards performance-minded people, but that also could mean a lot of different things.
Right. So, of course, we'll have to drive it. It'll be some time until we can, but I'm really looking forward to experiencing this frequency response damper, which is similar to like Model 3 and also Lexus RZ use that new type of damper where they can change its performance based on the frequency characteristics coming in. It's McPherson strut, multi-link in the rear. Enough nerd talk. Can we show everyone inside?
Yep.
I'm going to open up the door handle, which is a traditionally kind of interesting door handle, but an electric latch, actually.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So you pull it back and you wait. This is a very early production car.
Yeah.
So it could also just be that you have to put a lot of weight on it.
Which is cool. They're not lighting up right now, but
this is my first time seeing the interior. Really nice. Look at all this. Very similar to Lyric door pulls. You have like a massaging seat setting, heated and cooled seats. And while I'm making my way over to the other side and Jordan's showing you the interior, would be a good time to explain the options package on this car, which is essentially 2 trim levels. You have like a sport and luxury version. By the way, sport and luxury retain the same powertrain, same suspension. No change. It's just a styling package and some materials. And then of each of those, you have a level 1 and a level 2. Level 2 comes heated and cooled front seats and heated rear seats and some other stuff.
Yep.
We'll have to wait till the configurator's live to fully know, but seems pretty cool. Just loving this AKG standard 19 speaker, is it?
15 or 12.
Oh, 15.
Yeah, but it's 7.1.4 Dolby Atmos, which is really freaking cool.
Yeah.
8-inch ported sub in the back, which isn't a big sub, but if they port it correctly, it could actually still boom pretty well.
They said this is maybe even better than the top spec Escalade sound system.
Which intrigues me a lot.
Yeah, that's like, that's speaking my language. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So sound system, Super Cruises standard. It's going to ride hopefully pretty well. This is certainly going to be worth more money just in terms of materials and look than a Model Y, I think.
Yeah, no Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto. I wonder what our audience thinks of that because that's been a bit divisive on the GM side.
Yeah, that's like heaven to me.
Yeah, I know. So if they don't, like Rivian and Tesla, then they better have darn good software.
Yeah, they better have darn good software. Let's go into that now.
Yep.
I just have to say charging performance needs to be improved.
Yep.
I just can't get over that. They actually water cool their inlet. So the nominal battery pack voltage is like 340 volts.
Yeah.
And it's 400 amp request from the charger, but even then they have a liquid cooled inlet port on this.
That's cool.
And actually other Ultium products they were saying. Jumping in now for the first time, and
is that as far as your seat goes?
I guess it's as far low as it goes. So you sit up pretty high. but it's an SUV-ish. Equinox is big, dude.
Yeah.
And the Optiq obviously built on the same thing. Really nice leather steering wheel materials. This is like the baby Cadillac. And it has the same, everything looks premium, but then you start touching it and it's plasticky.
I know this is pre-production prototype, but the lyrics have the same thing.
Yes.
The production one. So
Yeah.
I'm not expecting this to improve, which is disappointing.
All of this just feels
It
terrible.
looks good until you touch it.
This
It
was
looks great for press photos, and that's what they're going after.
Okay. Okay, so I just want to talk. There's so many cool things on this car. It's got the same shifter as the other Ultium stuff. I mean, it looks nice. It's got, whatever. Jordan, this is the first time I've ever seen like a rheostat for a regen paddle. So we know the Bolt has the regen paddle,
Yep.
the ZDX, other vehicles. This is like how much regen you want. You can squeeze a trigger.
Yeah.
And so you can either keep it in one pedal driving, high, medium, or off, and then you can just pull this paddle if you want to bring it in to go max regen.
Yep.
How cool is that? They also assured me that you can see state of charge on the display. But I see miles.
And I wonder if that's
Miles
what
here.
they were referring to.
Charging. Okay, sign in this one. Charged to 50%. So they're good for storage. That's cool. Is that the lowest you can set to? Yep, 50%. So they're doing that for this, which is awesome. I'm not seeing state of charge. I know for sure so I'm in the energy menu. Yeah, a lot of these things we'll have to do when we drive it for the first time. But cooled screen, by the way.
Yeah, so 9K resolution, although I don't think it's OLED. They couldn't actually answer my question here, but it claims 9K with insanely good ratio, like 1 billion colors, 10-bit color gamut. But then again, it feels a little dim. The Lyric is the same issue. The heads-up display, I'm guessing also not OLED, and that really bothers me. But I guess that is nitpicking. But then again, this is said to be a flagship luxury car. Not flagship, but luxury car, which I don't know. There's some things that...
Yeah, but it's pretty nice. As soon as I hit anything, boom, I'm right where I need to be.
Yeah, it's responsive, which is important.
Lane assistance. So Super Cruise is standard for 3 years. Is that long enough to provide lane centering? It should just come with the car.
I think it just go with the car, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of data, they're saying. So,
Yeah.
Because it's pre-mapped, which I was also like, don't make it pre-mapped. Other systems work fine without pre-mapping. Anyway, they're pre-mapped. They're locked into this whole situation. And so you have heated steering wheel, and this is how you activate the Super Cruise.
Nice.
So we're bouncing around a lot only because we literally have no time.
Yeah, we have like 8 minutes.
Okay, wireless phone charger right here. Storage cubby, USB-Cs.
This will just cook your phone, just saying. That's...
Well, that's what it says right here.
Induction's cooktop, I mean wireless charger.
And then there's a 12 volt down there and 2 USB-C ports. Ambient lighting.
Ambient lighting's kind of nice. It's all over the place.
Look at this little cubby that they have over here, Jordan.
That's cool.
That's
Soft
really nice.
touch.
And then even more storage space.
Ambient lighting's on a strobing effect right now, which is hilarious.
This car is so nice.
And a digital rearview mirror, which I wish the Cybertruck had sometimes.
Yeah.
Up there anyways. You should sit in the back. I'll stay up here so you can show what they call class-leading rear seat space.
Okay. They also have a dash cam, like a Sentry cam recording, which will record to the cloud somehow.
There's an interior camera there.
Right, interior cloud. So like they're really catching up with a lot of the features needed.
Yeah.
It should have plug-in charge as well, which is cool. And it will, of course, hopefully plug-in charge on the Tesla Supercharger network. We'll see how that works.
Yeah.
Interesting, Jordan. I don't actually like the symmetry of this. You have a grab handle.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, pre-production.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not gone
Grab
right.
handle. Hopefully none of them
Maybe you did at one time too, and they patched the holes.
We're not sure if
this
that's
is
supposed to
if
happen.
you're over there, you're holding onto the wheel, and
Yeah.
if I'm over here, I'm holding onto this while you're in.
That's like the worst place to put
Angel's
your hand,
crest.
though. At least you have the roof ones as well. That's like such a weird place to put a grab handle.
That is really strange.
Okay.
We'll have to tell them he broke it. Oops.
Yeah,
Anyways,
amazing. Okay.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. All right, let me get in the back. How do I open the door? Okay, pull this thing.
The weird door
All
handles.
right, run into the back. See, this door handle worked perfectly, so I imagine it's just early pre-production lifestyle.
yeah.
Holy smokes.
So here's
Room for days.
except for your head.
Except for my
issue
head.
with all Ultium vehicles.
Yeah, they're all...
Have the same issue where they say the glass adds for canopy room, and it does, but the glass ends before your head
Right,
actually
bring the
ends.
glass back here.
Yeah, just like Model Y.
Right, just like Model Y. Model Y is such an annoying car in the marketplace for every automaker because it's so good like the value on paper and what it can do. There's zero emotion to that car. I recommend so many people buy that car, but it's not special. It doesn't actually ride that well. New Model Y is coming though.
Yes.
So if you give Model Y all the new Model 3 stuff, which by the time this video comes out may already be out, how can anything compete with that?
That's hard. You have to love Cadillac, which a lot of people do.
Or hate Tesla.
Or hate Tesla.
Which a lot of people do.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah.
But, okay, aside from headroom, legroom's pretty good back there.
Legroom's amazing, and even with the seat all the way down, it's just enough room for my feet to go underneath the seat. Love the ambient lighting back here. The materials are all great. This is like a kind of a special, cool place to be.
Yeah.
Like it's actually, I think I like it more than the Lyriq.
It feels nice.
It feels really nice.
Heated
and I got
seats.
USB-C ports, heated seats. I've got actually 120 volt.
Yeah, 120 volt outlet.
Yep, NEMA 515 there, not with the extra 20 amp prong.
You know, if they had done cooled rear seats, that could have thrown them into the, you know, every TikTok video would have been like, oh my gosh.
Well, EV9 has it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been needed. But let's just, what else do we need to say about this car? It's 54 grand before you get to the level 2. We don't know, it's probably 58 with taxes. You're just under 60 grand.
50s.
Yeah, and Lyriq starts at 57 right now.
Yeah.
And Blazer starts just a little bit more than this car, but they have $7,500 on the hood of Blazer.
Yep.
So anyway, let's just take everyone on a quick run around the outside. We'll finish everything up, of course, back at the office. But a quick run around, Jordan. It's got lots of cool stuff.
Lots of radar, lots of tech up front, which should help. The lighting signature in the grille is really cool. All the little diamond things in the grille. These lights just look really cool. I think Cadillac's lights in general have looked really cool for a long time.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
one
Audi
thing
lights and Cadillac lights.
a bit stand out to me.
And they do support like matrix functionality, but it's not legal in our market, but it's a global product.
So frustrating.
Yeah, so it'll happen everywhere.
Something else they point out, like the things on the screen up there are like things that people said looked cool, so they added kind of that effect. This
is standard.
This looks like the knockoff version of that though. It doesn't look great.
I don't think this looks good.
I don't think you can delete it.
It's also supposed to be a really quiet car, really thick glass.
Which is great, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, at least in the China marketing stuff, which we'll probably show everyone in this video, it's like a huge focus on comfort and quietness and stuff like that. Overall, the initial impression is like baby Escalade going on back here.
Incredible lights, no rear wiper.
Really, not even up top.
I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, here's your Chimsel right here. No rear wiper. Good catch, Jordan.
A little bit of an active, not active, but airflow going through there.
Yeah,
that's what'll wipe your rain away, supposedly.
but the initial impression of the car is like, okay, this is going to be pretty cool. It's a little bit slow, 6 second 0 to 60-ish is my guess.
Yeah.
But like really nice, might be a great daily driver for people.
Oh yeah.
And you know, we'll continue with the video with more thoughts as we go. But that's the tour in person of the Cadillac Optiq. Thanks for joining. We'll join you back at the office with a lot more details. Jordan, we have commandeered a conference room to finish off this portion of the Cadillac Optiq video because they kicked us out after filming the car. We had such a good run going and they're like, you only have 1 hour with the Optiq, and we spent 40 minutes of it with the engineers.
And then we still had to do a follow-up meeting with the engineers.
Right, and then we still called them and had a good chat. So I've got some notes, just some general bullet points in no particular order. We asked them questions about like software updates, peak charging speeds, other stuff that I think should be interesting. But also ahead of us filming, it was a little bit weird because the car had already been unveiled in China as the Cadillac IQ Song.
Yeah.
Which is a better name than Optiq.
Yeah, and they wouldn't give us any American details, so we were reading through the Chinese site trying to find details.
And then we found the best website known to man. And it gets better the farther we go. So we figured we'd take everyone through the Chinese Optiq site. By the way, in China, the car's a little bit adapted. It uses an LFP battery, totally different supplier base for GM vehicle battery packs. But you can, you know, let's go to the top. Let's walk everyone through the Chinese website, and then I'll update because this is just funny more than anything. But you will learn about how they want to present the Cadillac Optiq to the Chinese customer, which is really important here. So the heart is angular, dare to emerge.
Right.
Okay, let's continue to the big ones. The IQ Song. Okay,
So
the light shines brightly in the red.
Yes.
I love our translation software, whatever we have on here.
Wait,
'Cause
the
it's
deep
wonderful.
space is dark.
Oh, this is about each color.
It's raining and green. I like that.
Okay, wonderful. Some of these are totally fine. The design is not the same. I'm not willing to follow the rules. I'll give you new options for aesthetics.
So that would make you think this looks like different than any other car on the
But
road.
it actually looks like most cars on the road.
Right.
Okay. What else do we have?
I'm trying to picture you in a marketing position, and I can't.
It would just be a car. Buy a Tesla Model Y, if it's not better. Okay, some of this is like the aura that cannot reflect you, or that cannot be ignored, reflects you. Some of it gets cut off. Let's continue. Let's see what else we have. Luxury design. Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah.
I'd love to be in the meeting who came up with these words. Appreciation of beauty. It is not appropriate to be interrupted.
Yeah. Now, granted, this is, English translation through Safari's function of Chinese characters. So some things don't always translate perfectly, but we are trying to read their flow.
Oh, by the way, this thing that we commented on is inspired by Le Mans racing and high performance V series tail modeling.
So yeah, performance again is their target market.
Next one.
Yacht and cockpit, okay.
Yeah, the cockpit's nice. I really like this color. That's good. Giant screen cinema is great to see.
Where's
The only thing you didn't like was it wasn't bright enough.
It's not, yeah, and Lyric isn't really either. But
Okay, I don't think I've noticed that.
it's not bad. It's just, not where it should be, I think.
Okay, so this I'm excited for, actually, the sound system. It's about 1,000 watts, which you said watts is not a good way to measure a sound system.
Right.
But world-class, professional, specially designed, you're listening. But I think it says to, you're listening. So that makes sense. Translation's good here.
Yep.
But they said this is better than even the Escalade system.
Which is intriguing to me, yeah. So this should be Dolby Atmos. We'll see how it looks and sounds.
Surrounded by noise, there is no need to be disturbed at this moment.
Right, and this is talking about their acoustic laminated glass and all the NVH improvements that they've made.
Right, well, it's pretty amazing that it is, at least according to this, 63 decibel average high-speed road noise performance. That's really low.
That's a couple of decibels, well, a few decibels above Rolls-Royce.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And we have not driven the car on the road yet, but it just seems to me like it's going to be a softer, more supple place to be, a nicer ride than a Model Y.
Yep.
Costs more, but you're getting a lot more, Cadillac luxury things. We actually met a Lyric owner yesterday who's like driven Cadillacs for 20 plus years, was on the waiting list for the Lyric because Cadillac was making an electric one, and he absolutely loves it.
Yep.
It looked really cool. He was super into it. Yep, Hardcore Guardian gives you new security options. I don't know if that's a Chinese specific thing, but if we get the Hardcore Guardian here,
that'll be good.
That'll be good. Sounds like something we need. Super safe and secure beyond the level. I don't know which level.
Right.
But one of them.
IP67 dustproof and waterproof for the battery enclosure, IP6K, 9K high pressure water spray protection level. So
is that the US battery or the Chinese battery?
that might be the Chinese one. It doesn't really specify.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so it's safe. Driving without motion sickness, step by step, give you new options to control.
Right.
We want that. This is, by the way, before we went to film the Optiq video, Jordan and my information was completely based off of this presentation.
I can't even read this.
The smarter chassis, the road ahead. So this is talking about the adaptive damper with a frequency response damper, or they call it passive plus. I have the exact terminology that they use. Passive plus frequency sensing dampers. This is not available on any Chevy. It's a higher spec for the Cadillac.
Yep. I don't know what a Stens is, but
Smart in good hands. The smallest turning radius in the same class. The hair card, bend on the mountain road, goes as you like, and turn around on the ultra narrow road. It's a lot of fun to get every detour out.
Right. That just sounds like you and Angel's Crest. So
it sounds like I'm reading the owner's manual to my Coda EV. Right. Where's Cadillac Lady? That's all I want to skip to.
Especially for you.
Especially for you, Cadillac Lady. We were going to do a whole Optiq video dedicated to Cadillac Lady.
Wow, this is intense.
It's a Cadillac Lady website. I just wanted to run through some notes because we had another follow-up meeting with the engineers. A huge thanks to them for allowing us to take some of their time. And they explained a couple things in the video. First of all, they quoted the battery capacity at 89 kilowatt hour usable, and then it later turned out to be 85. And Jordan and I went on the Equinox EV drive, which that video is already live at this point. This was filmed a while ago.
Yeah.
We had like super early access to the Optiq, but we went to the Equinox drive and we're like, if you're the same chassis, same base car, why is Cadillac 89 kilowatt hour and you're 85 kilowatt hour? They're like, we have no idea. Let's call Cadillac. And apparently we got them speaking the same language now.
So what was one quoting gross and one usable? Or
No,
just
based on ISO 2405-4, this is what they told us, or SAE J1798 specification. So based off of how you pull energy out of a battery pack determines how much capacity is in there. We know that. If you drive it on track, you'll have less capacity with more heat loss. Now I think they're basing their capacity off of the EPA range test.
Good.
Which is exactly what it should be. And that's how most people do it. So it's the same battery as the Equinox, which is great. When we talked to the Cadillac people, we're like, who'd you make this car for? And it's entry luxury electric vehicle. And they are, did a bunch of clinic work and asking people stuff. Makes sense. Typical car things. And some quotes from them is, this just can't be a baby lyric. And so they really designed a whole car around this small luxury with some sporting edge, although it's a front primary axle situation. And they combine an Ultium solid structure with ideal looks, aerodynamics, 25-degree rake windshield as an example, and also storage and usability were targets. A big thing for them in the product planning side is ADAS is all standard. So you get Super Cruise, rear cross traffic, all the stuff that completely matters. Sustainable materials, 100% recycled yarn on the interior, stuff like that. Quiet NVH with acoustic laminated glass, unique lighting elements. They're proud of its agility, passive plus dampers, and all of that is way better than the Equinox. And we were impressed with the Equinox.
Right.
What did you think of the Equinox?
I thought it was great. We went into it thinking this is going to be rough, and we left pretty happy with it. So,
yeah, I mean, the rest of the body is different than the Equinox. It shares like a similar chassis, similar wheelbase, stuff like that. But based off of driving the Equinox, I'm pretty excited about the Optiq, way more than when we filmed this video, because I'm like, oh, Equinox was really nice. So we asked them why low voltage, why terrible charging. I'm going to say terrible charging, 20 to 80% in 40 something minutes, Jordan. That's just not it. So they said, we make a vehicle for what customers want.
And that was an interesting response to me because
I'm pretty sure.
How did they phrase the question to the customer, I guess is my...
Yeah, did they just ask customers, do you want your car to charge slow? And they said yes. It makes no sense. I mean, you're charging a premium price for a premium vehicle. You have a big battery in there and the voltage is just on the ground and they need a ton of current, which is already going to stress charging infrastructure. And it's rough. This is one of the lowest voltage cars on sale. We looked at it in the Equinox video. It's like 200 something volts dead.
You can pull whatever data you want out of any questionnaire. And so basically they asked people, how often do you road trip? And they found out 3% of the people road trip with their EVs. And they're like, okay, this should be good.
Right. They just designed it for Leaf owners or Bolt owners or something. Yeah. That to me is a huge miss with the vehicle, is charging performance, especially compared with competition that costs less. So, okay. They said 300 miles was a big target. So to me, it feels like GM is still in the we're trying to go heavy on the range, but not care about the charging. Whereas to us, we've been driving EVs for a long time. We know a lot of hardcore EV drivers. You want, yes, significant range, but almost as importantly is high power charging for those quick stops when you're on a trip. Or if you don't have home charging, the last thing you want to do is spend an hour at a charger every few days charging up to full. I'd like to be there 20 minutes back on the road and go home in that case. They tried to get the conversation away from that pretty quickly and shifted it towards tactile buttons, seat heaters, great HVAC, intelligent buttons. What's that all about?
It could be programmable buttons or I don't know. Or actually, no, I think they're referring to the thing where the buttons kind of change based on what the car thinks you might want to do. Kind of like what Ford does, which really annoys me.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I just want the buttons. I want to know where I'm touching.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to
you
look and
learn your
read.
car.
Yeah.
And I mean, they can make improvements over the air with like, okay, more people would like this here. But instead, they have this smart thing, which just
Yeah,
like
Mercedes has it too. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I'm like, just let me choose where I want stuff and then leave it.
because it never really knows.
No, it's terrible. Okay, so that's that. Some other points to make on the car is the Euro spec is slightly different. So the Euro spec has bigger brakes, some slight chassis tuning, it sounds like. They were like, they put bigger brakes on the Euro spec because they have more frequent hard decelerations in Europe than here. I thought that was an interesting statistic. They would know, they have the data on that stuff.
Yep.
And then I think we should just end it on software. Jordan, when we were there talking to the product planners, they specifically told us that the car does have over-the-air software update capability.
Yep.
And they don't want to use it.
Yep. They said, it's weird. They said, why would we put out a product before it's perfect? And so basically we're going to put out a product when it's perfect, and then we shouldn't have to update it because it's perfect.
But it doesn't have dog mode.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to that. Like the last 2 months have been like, why Kyle is fighting for dog mode so hard. There is a way to leave it on.
Yeah.
Tap the accelerator pedal 3 times, then the brake, and then it never shuts off. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of lame. Then we asked them that again on the call, because we really hammered them in person about the software. We're like, how can you release a car in 2024 that doesn't get better over time? Technology will improve. Every car that's, Rivian and Tesla and Lucid, hardcore leading the software game in our market. The Chinese companies are wiping the floor of everyone else. And this is a global product that you're not wanting to support. They were like, oh, okay. So they definitely prepped for that question when we talked to the engineers a second time.
Yep.
And these are great people, really passionate, hardcore engineers from really cool projects that were put on this one, which I thought was interesting as well. There's some really talented people working on the Optiq. But then they were like, we don't want to make any promises or make people expect updates. We just want to surprise and delight. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but I also think people don't want to buy a car that they feel will not be supported into the long term. We have an issue. Our Audi e-tron from 2019, as an example, does not get software updates. It asks for an oil change every year. It's an electric car. There's no, Audi will not fix it. There are things where updates are needed. And so I think it's important to tell the customer, hey, here's like 3 cool features we're working on, and we will support any bugs or stuff into the future. They're not willing to say that.
Yeah, there's somewhere in the middle is the sweet spot, because you do have this culture created by Rivian and Tesla of like, oh, I can't wait for the next big updates. But then if you build up too much hype, then it's like people are never going to be satisfied with what they have. Whereas if you say that you ship a car that's already perfect, doesn't need anything, people are going to be like they said specifically, this is targeted at like the performance-minded young person.
Right. Which that would be us.
Yeah.
And I want my car to be, I'm not a software guy, but I want to know someone's working on it.
Yep.
It's 2024. We're not just shipping a car and then recycling it in 15 years.
But then the point they made specifically was like, we don't want to be this quote unquote, they didn't say Tesla, but like, we don't want to make empty, huge promises and then under deliver on them.
Right. And I get that.
Yeah.
But just tell us something.
The communication could be a little better.
I would say if you buy this, do not expect updates.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. And we really argued with them on that point.
Yeah.
So that was that. I mean, I think just to sum up my thoughts on the Optiq, we've had a couple months to think about it now.
Yeah.
We've driven the counterpart, the Equinox. I think it's quite expensive. You're talking 60 grand for a top spec, plus or minus 54 base, I think, something like that.
Yep.
Can we pull up the Tesla configurator?
Yep.
I just have to say, like, we always have to compare things to the benchmark in the category, which is clearly the Tesla Model Y. And the reason the Tesla Model Y is the benchmark in the category is because of sales volume. And it was the most popular vehicle on sale. So we can't compare the rear wheel drive because they're not offering a rear drive. So this is 54, and the long range all wheel drive's 48,000 for Tesla. I think they both will qualify for the tax credit.
Yeah.
The Optiq is made in Mexico.
Yep.
Then their performance all-wheel drive is less money than the Optiq as well. So, range, EPA, my guess is the Optiq's going to go farther. It's got a huge battery, going to be probably pretty efficient. This has like almost 500 horsepower. The Optiq has 300 horsepower. This has 250 kilowatt peak charging and, 10 to 80 and probably less time it takes from 20 to 80 for the Optiq on charging. It has autopilot as standard. It has a known resale value that's pretty high, considering that you're, after whatever happened last year when they dumped the prices. So I think you really have to always look at what else is out there. But the thing with Model Y, it doesn't ride very well. It's not quiet. It's not super comfortable. It is very good from a technological standpoint, and I love the Model Y. But the Optiq is like the cool alternative choice. And I could see a lot of people who currently drive Cadillac vehicles or even Tesla vehicles who don't need to road trip, Jordan, who can charge at home.
Yeah.
The Optiq seems like a great choice. If driving dynamics are not important to you, again, this is a rear bias system with track mode, you can drift it. If you just want like a nice daily driver with probably a good chassis, good suspension setup for comfort, then the Optiq makes sense. It's going to have a great sound system. Model Y has a good sound system. This might be better. And honestly, I think this is the more interesting, unique choice here.
Yeah, I think the Optiq does the annoying thing where it's like, oh, you want sport or luxury, and all they're doing is changing some physical looking things. They're like Model Y.
Are you saying in the trim levels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Model Y performance is like, oh, some actual performance things.
Right. Here's bigger brakes, different
Yeah.
suspension, juice the power.
Whereas they're doing the annoying thing that a lot of companies do, where it's like, oh, the sport option, that's just a visual trim package.
Right. Yeah. That's just like, do you want this bit of plastic instead of that?
Right.
That bit of plastic. Yeah. So now we actually know quite a bit more about the Optiq from when we filmed it. There's, a full website with everything on here. I think it's going to have really good range, really good comfort. Styling is subjective. You have eyes, make up your mind. I think it looks okay.
Yeah.
I think the Lyriq looks way better.
Yeah.
And if you go for a top spec Optiq, you're kind of at Lyriq money.
Right.
And then there will be the Vistiq,
Yeah.
which is, I know that's a 3-row, so that's bigger than the Lyriq.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Lyriq has been out for a bit though, so now you can find Lyriqs used, and it's like you go down
Yeah.
that rabbit hole of conversation.
Oh yeah, let's just go down that. But there you go. That's the Optiq. I mean, we learned about it. There's not much to say. We're going to do the full in-depth video when we drive it. This was a pretty hodgepodge video, of course.
Yeah.
We got to go do a race to Vegas. So we'll see y'all later. Goodbye.